Welcome back. You are tuned into your Feel Good Breakfast Show, Expresso, right here on S3. And so far, it's been an incredible show filled with inspiration, and we can inspire you even further right now. Now, for some of us, it's summer days on the outside, but winter days on the inside as we fight off a cold or a flu during the season. And this morning, to answer your questions of why you may be prone to getting these sniffles in summer is Dr. Izzat van der Ros from Medicross Tokai. Dr. Izzat, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's good to have you. I'm loving the beard, my friend. It looks awesome, especially going into the festive season.
It has a life of its own.
I'm sure it does. It's wonderful to have you. We're talking about colds and flu, and you know what? We can't talk enough about it because we really need to foster that understanding as to the differences between the two. Just run us through a cold versus a flu, and I mean, how common is it in the summer season?
So, let me start with this as a background. Global warming is real. So over the last 20 years, especially for us in the Western Cape with the Mediterranean climate, which was a cold, wet winter and a long, warm summer, with global warming, the climatologists will see that there's a 6-week seasonal change lag.
Sure.
So the historical notion of summer cold and winter flus, that changes now a bit. So there's a mixture. So essentially, the cold would be having milder symptoms with or without a secondary bacterial infection, and hopefully without a visit to the doctor.
Yeah.
So most people will take some medication on their own, irrespective of their socioeconomic conditions. They're going to take something. That's human nature. Yeah. With flu, as the word comes from, it's abbreviated from the influenza virus. There are thousands and thousands of viruses. But from our point of view, we anticipate that some people, depending on their sensitivities, may react with a bacterial infection afterwards, or some of them may just have a prolonged period. Some will have flu symptoms, which would be myalgia, muscle aches and pains, temperature, they feel really bad, and they get better. And then after those symptoms settle, they get a secondary bacterial infection, and that's when they need to visit the doctor. So it's a question of severity, really, but it blurs, well, let's say, for people in the medical field, it's vital to understand that it blurs because of the seasonal changes that we're actually faced with. Cape Town, you have 4 seasons in a day.
For sure. That's an interesting take. I like that because, I mean, if you take a look at this year specifically and, you know, the people that I've connected with, it's been a challenging year with regards to illnesses. And some people battled to get rid of a flu or a cold for 2 weeks or more even. Now, when we talk about, you know, getting something in the summer times, and you mentioned the global warming as well, is time periods less for these because we are experiencing warmer weather, or how long can it typically last in summer?
So usually 3 to 5 days, and I will say again, depending on the individual's propensity to recover, or whether they have a history of allergies, or depending on their age, or depending on their general health, if they have other medical conditions, or a simple thing like overcrowding. And in today's time, we have multi-generational families where the grandmother's 90 and the kids are at the creation, everyone goes to school. Or there's a family of 4 and there's 2 children and they go to creation, the whole thing goes around for weeks and weeks and weeks. The interesting thing in all of this is that during COVID, we hardly saw sick kids. And then when masking was kind of completely just left towards the November of last year, then we started to see more and more school children coming in, and then the teachers come in, and then the parents come in, and so the cycles continue. So within families, there's always going to be that spread. And within creches, there's always going to be that kind of spread. So the main thing is to see if somebody's presenting with whichever symptoms they are, and whoever's in charge of the family or the carers or whatnot will say, okay, this person is at a greater risk because they have a medical condition, or like Brandon, because he's at risk for getting chest infections, so he's the kind of guy who should be doing other precautionary things.
I understand.
So it's vital for the medical practitioner to also educate people. I like to think I'm a teacher. I like to educate people on having an understanding of detail, but also a big picture.
Look, I love it. It's fascinating how you unpack it. And I've been in that personal experience where I found that, I got sick and, didn't feel right, and I got better, but it was not long afterwards where it kind of reoccurred once again. And this is that cycle that you are talking about. How important is it to treat the symptoms from the get-go? When we talk about pain or fever, specifically with regards to, I know a lot of people go towards paracetamol as an effective treatment plan for the entire family.
So I'm going to say something funny about pain and fever. It's like love and marriage. It doesn't always go together because they are different processes.
Yeah.
Okay. Paracetamol, excellent, safe. It's easily available in most societies. In other parts of the world, in non-Western societies, people use traditional medicine. So one needs to understand that human nature to be able to take something. But generally, the thing that paracetamol does in pain, it blocks the receptors going to the brain, or it blocks certain pathways. It's probably about 70-odd years old, and honestly, we actually really don't know how well it works.
Well,
so that's with the pain thing. With the fever thing, it blocks part of the production and pathways for what we call prostaglandins. So that's one of the many pathways, and at nighttime, lots of elderly people like to take paracetamol because it has an antihistamine effect.
Right.
But it is safe for the liver, and it doesn't affect the stomach, and it doesn't affect blood pressure, and it's reasonably inexpensive.
Yeah, no, see, I think that is why a lot of families
Actually
have it.
underestimated.
Right.
Actually underestimated.
Well, there we heard from the doc himself. So I got to ask you, festive season is here, summer is here. We want to enjoy our time. How do we not get sick?
Okay, so we can't say wear masks. I tell people that, and they think that's the last thing they want to do. But the main thing I would say is, if you understand your own history and your own track record, an antihistamine, a multivitamin of some sort that works for you, that's easier than going to say take a whole lot of other medication. And if there is somebody in a complex family setup, let them at least keep themselves a little away from the rest of everybody else. And that includes in people's homes and in public.
Yeah.
Coming to visit a doctor in a doctor's waiting room, you're going to pick up some germs there.
Somewhere, yeah. So maybe wear a mask when you go to the doctor.
So, yes.
Dr. Ezra, thank you. You know what? I need an entire morning with you, that is for sure. Thank you very much for coming through.
But we can talk about it.
We can talk about it. I love it. Thank you very much. Very, very valuable insights there. Just like you've learned now something new, I think, for the day, and able to tackle a summer cold or a flu when it comes knocking on your door. Now, more life and less pain with SA's trusted pain and fever relief brand for all ages, PANADO. Power to fight that pain.
Introducing PANADO Pediatric Syrup 5 ml sachets. They're really convenient to pack and easy to use, so you're always prepared for pain and fever, anytime, anywhere.